I haven't prepared. Oh no! Quick, change what I'm looking at to not things that you can see. Quick, back to this. Ah!
Oh no!
That's all right.
Anymore.
Let's do this.
Just quickly, did I hear you talking about the next campaign?
Yeah,
Oh,
we
my
were
God.
talking-ish about it a little bit, just because we all feel like we need to wrap this one so that we can feel fresh and juicy about new stuff. And we've been playing this one for so long.
4 years?
Yeah, literally about that. So
Maybe more. I was still at college.
yeah,
We're on Twitch, by the way.
it was before. Yeah,
You're up.
are we on? We're good. We're on. Nice.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Let's go.
Guten Tag. Good evening.
If anyone's there, who
evening.
knows? Probably not.
See, maybe
Let's
Chris,
have a
look.
maybe Chris will be there.
Chris
Hello,
might
Chris.
be there. Chris is a fucking G. Everyone else is pretty shit.
They don't like us. We got a very encouraging comment on the YouTube. So I don't know if you saw.
Oh no, I
No?
didn't see. What
Yeah,
was
someone
the
was
comment?
like, "Oh Jesus, that's loud." Fucking.
Oh yeah, I'll get my music up now before we start going proper. However, my laptop might crash as soon as I open Roll20.
Oh no.
Also, I got to send my gaming rig back for repairs. For fuck's sake.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks.
Ooh.
Right. So, welcome back, everybody. As always, it's good to see y'all. Boil up a pot, take a seat by the hearth, and enjoy a mighty brew. With who, Rupert?
I think it's the Journeyman Questers.
With who, Theo?
The Journeyman Questers.
With who, Mike?
The Journeyman Questers!
What the fuck was that?
That's his not wanting to shout for his cat, which is very honourable, I must say.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We are missing Josh once again, as he is in the land of the Cornwallum. Cornwallum. But Aidan will join us as always late, which is totally fine. And he will carry us once again through this session of Dungeons and Dragons Journeyman
great
Questers
RP,
Gypsies of
eh?
Fortune. Insane. Amazing RP.
Yeah.
So, to start us off today, I have a little catch up for you all.
Oh, fuck yeah. We all just get to listen. Story time, boys.
Let's have what do we want? No, not that. Let's have...
DJ's on. Get yourself a hot cocoa. And
Oh,
sit your butt cheeks down.
Put this on.
Sit your butt cheek down by
I've
that
been really
toasted
enjoying
toasty ass pie.
doing catch-ups like this, where they are not really catch-ups at all, but they're stuff that only I can write, which is kind of nice.
Oh, it's one of these again, is it?
So,
Insights.
Whoa, let me get my music up, because my laptop's shit.
okay. Beep, beep,
Alright,
beep.
let's go.
Yeah, all good?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
good. Literally just managed to sign in now.
A thin tongue extends to wet the tip of a long, bony finger. Slightly salty to the palate, mixed with traces of ink and gum. The finger traces the edge of a sheet of parchment until the moisture finds purchase and the page is turned over with a soft crackle. An audible crack of bones can be heard as the arm comes to rest on the desk. Ugh, these blasted bones of mine, twisted and gnarled like the boughs of some decrepit tree. You, there, girl, hand me that sack of papers. The flat-faced foreigner turns to face the old hunched keeper of the records. I am not a child as I look. Getting better, I see. But I think you mean young, not child. Regardless, hand me those papers, woman. My name would do finely. Looking out the window, Silas looks upon the courtyard of the Miriau. Below, Mayor Key goes about her duties, Mr. Kundrakar at her side, and young Master Key to the left, as well as a small gaggle about her heels. She gazes across the rooftops of the town, thatched and stone, homely, but not her home. So far from home, she says in her native tongue. Gaze gazes back at her from within his satchel. He says. Her eyes, however, are drawn towards something across those sleepy roofs, towards the eastern farms by the Bell Wood. The hunger draws her gaze there, as it always has. But nothing. Look again. A whispered voice of Nolk's from her teachings long ago. There is always more to be seen. Always. Silas waits transfixed on that spot on the tree line. Ah, there, did you see that tree? The tree moved, Gaze. Gaze laughs. A large oak swaying back and forth. Searching? And there, a figure, small, stocky. A dwarf, perhaps. Mr. Wayland, sir, I must be home, for sick is me and my bed. Yes, do what you will, but don't let it be a common Oh, she's gone. As the camera begins to pull back away, showing Ngmiri in the early hours of the morning. And with that, we shall start today's session.
Intrigue.
Previously, on the Gypsies of Fortune, you set about finding information, investigating, and planning your heist upon the Midnight Mercers, a guild in the city of Xanthar, in your quest to find something known as the Cubic Gate. Still without too much information about what it is or how really to approach or how to get in, you still have a few days remaining until supposedly the time on this quest was up. Not only that, but you only have a few days as well with your current medallions, which are keeping you from the peering gaze of unwanted eyes with magical means. Richter and Dutch, followed by Dylan, had your meeting. You had the meeting with one of the mercers known as Arman Abedi, as well as a few other merchants, local merchants from the area, selling some different antiquities. Richter bigged himself up to be Hammond in his different guise with his mask of many faces, and played the part as this sort of arrogant, slightly pompous, mercantile camp version of the Hammond that you know from the Varamark. Much more eccentric and some sort of flamboyance to him, which Richter, I think, ad-libbed sort of onto it. The character became its own character. The negotiations went sort of pretty well, and Richter didn't stumble at all on any of his words. There were times where they didn't believe him and some of his long stories, but that fed into the clever character that Richter was portraying. And eventually, talk led to bigger scale trades, negotiations. And you were gifted a coin that let you in to see Kashmiri the Collector. You departed in caravan, Dylan still following, keeping an eye, and made your way through a few districts to the Guild district, the Merchant Guild district. Large open roads, cobbled streets, well maintained, with these large estates, these like big gardened area, walled off areas with kind of manor houses within. And eventually you were led to kind of a workshop, warehouse sort of area where you entered a sort of pretty plain looking door that led you down and down into the depths underneath these guilds. Armin Abedi was not allowed entry, and Dylan managed to kind of slip through with his invisibility and insane stealth. Within this this sort of underground emporium, there were kind of monster battles that were taking place. You saw a vicious Naga-like sort of serpent beast fighting against a kind of rock carapaced spider that seemingly was casting some magic about it, and was victorious within the pit. Betting was had, very much like the underground city kind of vibe that you're used to. You pushed on, and within another room, a huge fire elemental appeared. A flame giant, a fire giant appeared on the stage, questioning the audience of who among them was the strongest. A kind of ruse that actually this large giant was not Kashmiri the Collector, as perhaps Richter originally had thought, but instead part of a bet that was going on to see who would actually be the one to step forth to this sort of challenge. And money was handed over, and eventually a more plain looking gentleman with long beard and kind of like plain robes walked out and conversed with Richter, with Dutch there too, and Dylan hiding from in the shadows, invisible. He was indeed Kashmiri the Collector, and had a great wealth of knowledge and items, and he seemed to pride himself on having anything that person wanted, he could get or had for them. And Richter, still kind of having to play his character, asked some pertinent questions. You found out information about the fact that the Cubic Gate had passed through his hands and had been sold indeed to the Mercers not too long ago. As well as that, you learnt that he had sold other things to the Mercers, one of them being a variety of monsters or creatures that he had sold to them, also of fairly recent occurrence. One of them being this spider-like creature that you saw in the pit. With that, Richter sort of promised that maybe that he would return, and kind of baited his halberd, one of the stones, giving over some sort of information, and Kashmiri offered a ludicrous sum of money, a sum of money that you weren't even sure he even had or was capable of getting, to buy one of these off you. But with the information learnt, and perhaps a meeting on the morrow, if Richter wanted to return, although the deals that sort of were broached, I can't imagine Richter really wanting to do that anyway. But the information learnt, and kind of a promise for bargaining in the future as to maybe keep negotiations pleasant, you left with some pertinent information. Meanwhile, Zook and Rufus had been doing some investigating of their own. Zook, you had flown around the Mercer's estate, and you had seen various kind of guard duties, watchtowers, as well as the grounds themselves, and kind of scoped them out. You saw a great maze on one side of the estate, kind of right up against the manor itself, as well as greenhouses, gardens, courtyards, things like that. You also noticed that they were in the process of setting up some kind of party, some kind of banquet. There was butlers and servants moving around large quantities of kind of food and produce that was coming in and out from the mansion itself. You don't know when this party is being arranged, but it didn't seem like they were finishing this setup anytime soon. With that, you flew back and met with Ruthus, who had sent a pigeon with a note to Fandel, Professor Fandel of the Fifth Tower, the Professor of Antiquities that you had met with in the Mages University within Xanthar, within the Andriont, which is somewhere you don't think you could probably go back to, as there are kind of watching eyes and it would be a dangerous place to go. So instead, Ruthus had invited him to meet at the Borrowed Time, a magical emporium that he had found out where it was and wanted to visit anyway. And by killing two birds with one stone, or maybe not killing in your and Ruthus's case, nurturing two birds with one stone, you decided to go to the Borrowed Time, which was in the 8th ward, which is the Commons. During your travels there, you noticed a great hail began to fall, and a storm sort of began to erupt above you. And Zook, you were called towards that storm as the king appeared on the street in front of you, that both you and Ruthus saw. The king seemingly the only one that ever shows himself out in the material realm. And with that, and your circlet of the storm humming, you turned into a greater giant eagle and flew up into the storm. But it was not an easy ride. You were struck by many bolts of lightning, charring your feathers, but you pushed on and up out of this storm. And either the Jack being pleased with this endeavour, or perhaps the storm and the energy of it itself, but the Jack placed his finger upon your forehead, touching the circlet, and it began to glow with the bright energy of the storm, and you felt its charges return. Returning to your normal form, you cast Fly on yourself and began to bank back down through the storm, as the storm eventually faded away, as if it had never been there to begin with. It almost appeared, it went as quickly as it had appeared. And you banked down, landing with Ruthus on the wet street later in the evening. However, you still had, I believe, an hour or so until your meeting with Fandel. You approached the shop, but it looked completely shut, and you chose to sort of maybe meander about for a bit. And that is where we'll pick up with you, Zook, with Ruthus, meandering about the Commons. What is it that you'd like to do?
So, the shop itself is shut. Can we explore the area, see if there's any other interesting shops that catch our eye?
Yeah, sure. Roll me an investigation check, please.
It's a 5.
A 5. You wander about.
Imagine Ruthus would be better at this sort of thing.
Ruthus lets you take the lead. He's almost enjoying this, watching you kind of patrol these streets. It's a different kind of jungle and forest, a concrete one. Well, not concrete, but brick and stone and wood. It is extremely kind of unnatural compared to your home, and you're kind of lost in this maze of buildings. And the Commons is very maze-like. The picture behind me is quite a good representation of just alleyways and tall buildings, and the sun is behind cloud and is low in the horizon, and the lamps are lit. There are lights within windows, and you get this sense of there's an enormity of activity around you, even if most people aren't out on the street. And you wander around for a good 20 minutes, half an hour, seeing the sights. Commons tends to not have too many shop fronts, and those that aren't open because of the recent hail. Doesn't seem like there's any street vendors out. But I'd like you to make me a D20 roll, please, on the random encounters.
That's a 19.
A 19. A half-elf woman approaches you. She looks very very sickly. She's wearing sort of dark clothes and cloaks around her. She's kind of walking towards you but facing behind her, and she ends up sort of coming sort of up short in front of you, not realizing she would have walked into you. I'm please, and she glances towards Ruthus, who's got shield on back and armor about his person, although no weapon, just the hilt of the sunblade. And she looks to you with your staff, these two gnomes. Please, can you protect me just for a moment?
What is it that you're running from?
She moves around and sort of puts her hand on your shoulder, looking over towards
Hey. Is she capable of actually hiding behind two gnomes?
Not really. She's more like just ducking behind you and the tree a bit. The staff of High Canopy.
Right. Is she genuinely scared, or is this a performance?
Make me an insight check.
That's good. Insight is so 21.
You incite her.
A 21. She genuinely seems scared, but there's part of her that seems slightly excited by the fear. What's your passive perception again, Roop? It's
25.
That's it. I was going to say 24. It's 25. As you're kind of like looking at her, you see her hand reach down and just lightly, like deftly, untie Rufus's coin purse from his side.
Okay. I suggest that if you want to remain with two hands, that you remove one of them from my friend's belongings.
Oh!
Rufus immediately sort of, turns, putting his hand on his hilt. I'd like you to roll me an intimidation check, please, Zook.
It's a 10.
It's a 10. She doesn't seem afraid, but she's been caught. As she merely kind of, pops it into his kind of pocket, so it's still attached, and just pats it and says, "Oh, it was merely just making sure that it was properly attached. I assure you."
Listen, can I look? What's she wearing? Does she look like she's bedraggled or like hard up?
Yeah, giving her a glance over this close, you can't see a lot under the kind of coat over the top, but the bottom is ragged and a lot of it is mud covered, and she doesn't smell great either.
She ratchet.
Her face is gaunt and she looks a bit sickly, and she's missing a couple teeth.
I'm gonna look to Rufus and say, I feel like this young lady could be of use and perhaps could earn some of the coins that you wanted to. Now, we are on a matter of urgent business. And there are some people that mean us ill in the city. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it would be handy to have an eye on these roads here. Now, you can earn some gold, but that's in an honest sense. You'll have to do something for us.
She sort of smiles a bit. I don't have time for any of that. Look, you just got to just protect me for a moment. And as you are talking, Rufus kind of coughs a little to get your attention, and you turn around and you see two burly-looking figures, one with a cudgel in hand, a gnarly-looking sort of wooden beater. The other one still quite burly, but just a large sort of trench coat out, big meaty fists, and both have ugly faces to boot. One of them points towards you both. Hey! Hand over that filthy pickpocket!
Well, what are you going to do? I mean, if we do hand her over.
Rufus steps forwards, kind of maybe 5 foot in front, and he places a hand on his hilt, looking sort of threatening, like, don't come any closer. But he's looking to you to make the judgment.
Okay.
I said,
listen.
Hand that filthy pickpocket over, or you'll taste a bit of my wood. And he hacks up a big glob of phlegm and spits it down into the wet street.
I'm afraid, sir, that I am all too familiar with wood, and I do not fear it in the slightest.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you hear that? And he, like, jeers to the other one. Right. Well, you're giving us a nice excuse. That's some pretty armour you got there, gnome. As he points towards Rufus.
Yeah.
Rufus turns to look at you, Zook. Says, I won't have unnecessary bloodshed, Zook. But what do we do?
No, but these fellas look easy to ensnare, shall we say?
Rufus turns and, like a slight flash, steps forwards, quick as anything, and you see. I'm gonna stride Rufus forwards, and Rufus has got at least above a 10 for that. You see the hilt of the sunblade just flash forwards and slam into the head, like the side of the head of the one on the left that didn't have any blades out. Rufus is like slightly in the air as he's just cracked him across the side of the head with this. You see, in fact, I'm going to roll. It'd be about 6 points of damage. This guy just tumbles to the side, grabbing his head as blood kind of pours down this bit. You fuck! He pulls out a small shiv. Roll for initiative.
Who's present?
Oh,
this is just Zook and
natural
Rufus in the alleys. Aidan, I've sent you the catch-up that I read to the chat.
Thank you.
You have to imagine Waylon's voice and Silas's voice.
Okay, we'll do.
And some bits are actually Gaze or Nox's voice. So.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. We can watch the video after if you'd rather, but I thought it might be while you're waiting, you could read it.
It'd be useful.
It was one of those like things that are happening that you guys can't see, little snippets.
Right. Oh boy.
Were you there for the one before that I did that was the devil ones?
I doubt it. I don't think so.
Shit, I'll have to send you that one again.
Yeah, I'll have to hear that one.
Right. Oh, okay. What did you get, Zook?
a natural 20.
Oh my god. You are up first. What are you doing?
Okay. I'm just going to float forwards and stand in the open. And I'm just going to say, I'm just going to look at them and say, if you want to hurt me, come and do so. But it won't end well. And I'll wave the staff above my head as the leaves fall and leave it bare as if winter has just come upon it. Snow begins to fall around the staff as it starts whipping around me in a sort of vortex. And all of the snow coalesces on my skin and it becomes icy, and I cast Ice Shield.
Nice.
And I'm just gonna hold my arms open and say, I wouldn't if I were you. I'm gonna wait to see what he does.
Okay, it's actually Ruthus next. Ruthus is seeing this guy kind of tumbling away from him and seeing you stand there. Ruthus is going to take a step back away from him, and the guy swings out with his shiv, but Ruthus, I think, he has his 5
He's got
foot
that 5 foot movement.
Theo, your scratching is audible, just so you know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like this of little mice.
Let me mute myself.
I
can mute myself.
Ruthus takes that 5 foot step back as the guy kind of flails wildly with his dagger, but blood is kind of covering this eye. Ruthus just takes a step back and says, "This is done. Leave this place." He's going to hold his action if they attack him. It is the thug's turn. The one that hasn't been attacked yet, the one with the cudgel, looks towards you. I'm gonna say roll an intimidation check for me, Zook.
It's a 16.
He looks towards you, takes a sort of deep breath, and then puts his hand down on his friend's shoulder, gripping him, and begins bolting off in the other direction, yelling profanities at you both.
Yeah, get backed.
Zook, you do see in this same moment the kind of the half elf lady who was with you. You see she is making a break for it away from you.
Does she look like she's got a coin purse in her hand?
She does not, but as she moves away from you, you can see. What do you have about your person that would just be kind of about?
I've got I guess I have some potions on my belt. I've got a satchel of holding, which would be like strung around my waist sort of thing.
You would see this fully. She is trying to pluck free one of your potions, but you're standing there, and your insane peripheral vision catches her hand just unbuckling one of the potions, and she begins to make a break, and you've noticed it, and she moves out of your range. As in, you could attack her or try and do something.
Can I have I got an action? Can I cast a spell?
It's your attack of opportunity, so it's a reaction. And unless you're a warcaster, I don't think you can cast it.
Can I try and? I want to try and hit her hand. No, I don't want to do that. I want to try and just go and grab the potion. Let's whip it out of her hand.
I'll let you. In that case, make me an
sleight of hand or just dex.
Make me an acrobatics check. I think it's like speed of whipping it out from her hands.
Good. I am proficient. And that's a 19, so that's a 27.
Okay, I'm just going to roll for her. She runs and she just continues to sprint off, and you have the potion in your hand. And she looks down and realizes it's not there, looks back at you holding it, keep meeting her gaze. She just bolts into the alley. I just shake
my head disapprovingly, flip up the potion, and I tuck it back into my belt.
Are you pursuing either, or are you staying put?
Nope. They can go all get wrecked.
Okay.
I think.
Some time passes as Ruthus walks back over towards you, and
this city, there are some disfavorable people here.
Ruthus gives you a knowing nod.
As he is wont to do.
He begins cleaning the kind of bit of blood on the hilt of the sunblade off.
Well, seeing as there's nothing but thieves in this district and nothing apparent that could serve us. Perhaps we should go back to the shop and wait there for Fandel.
You see on the ground where the thugs made a run. You can see the knife that the guy was holding, that Rufus bloodied, is on the ground.
Can we pick it up? Have a look at it.
Picking it up, you can see it's a shiv, but it's interestingly made. It's not necessarily well made, but you can see there is like a sort of rudimentary carving. Perhaps this guy kind of carved into it. And you can see it's what looks to be kind of 2 tusks, but they're painted red.
Okay. Interesting. I'll pocket that and maybe show it to Dylan and Dutch when I see it. I see them.
You wait
and
about
we'll head to the shop.
And head back to the shop. And as you approach, you see waiting out the front a heavily robed figure. Their large hood pulled up over their head, obscuring their face. But you can see a long kind of silvery beard protruding from said hood.
Mm-hmm. I guess we'll approach.
The figure turns, sort of looking towards you through the dark, and pulls back his hood, and you see the kind of balding head of Professor Fandel of the 5th Tower. He pushes his spectacles sort of further up his long nose. We should probably go inside. You can see like there is an elation of excitement about him.
Indeed. So we should. I'm going to do a very thorough scan of the street to see if there's anyone that looks even the slightest bit dodgy.
Make me a perception check.
That is 22.
Scanning about, you don't see anyone until you catch sight of someone squatting behind a barrel looking over at you. And you make eyes with them and you recognize it as the half-elf woman.
I just literally get a fireball. No, I'm not going to. No, that's dumb. No, I literally just do that. Like.
As soon as she notices that you see her just stand up from behind the barrel and just walk slowly off down.
I give her a knowing nod for that.
Oh, yeah.
Rufus just squints down the alleyway. What are you doing? What are you doing, Zook?
All is in order, Rufus. All is in order as I turn around and walk through the door.
He knowingly nods. Professor Fandel walks up to the door, which is, it's still closed on the inside. It is interesting, my gnome companions, that you have brought me to this place. I have not been here for years. Oh, it doesn't seem open.
How did we get in? Did we just walk in the front door?
You're not inside, you're still standing out.
Oh,
he's saying
right.
that it's closed.
Well, perhaps we could find a quiet area to talk, somewhere secluded, without prying ears.
No bother at all. You have invited me here, but you are unknown to this city. You do not know its wealth, and I haven't left the Andriant in, well, at least a decade. And he lifts a hand up, and you see some small runes appear in front of his hand, and there's a loud, audible boosh, boosh, like knock on the door that he didn't create. He just did this in the air.
Oh no.
Ooh, thank you. A beverage for me. I forgot about this.
Oh,
I'm just going to crack this beverage open. Thank you, milady, who appeared from the street. and offered me this beverage. Cheers, everybody.
You might say she's an unseen servant.
Definitely not unseen. Or unheard. So I just rereading knock just to make sure I know the spell. You hear a little sort of click from the inside, and he merely turns the handle and pushes the door open. There's a diddle-ding ding ding. Oh, I do say hello. I'm an archmage. I'm sure that it'll be fine, and I've been here before. And he begins just walking in.
Wow, I guess that accords you a certain amount of leeway when it comes to walking into other people's homes or shops. That's
Ruther sort of turns.
You understand the city better than I.
You enter the dark interior of the
borrowed time.
Of the borrowed time. Get my notes up. Hello. I don't think anybody's here. Oh. Looking about on the inside of the borrowed time, you see there are these display cases and things that you saw in the dim light, but all is empty, and it looks like it hasn't seen people on the inside of this shop for quite some time. There's dust sort of on the cabinets, and there's nothing inside here. Looks like it's a shop that closed, or I don't know. All of the items have been moved, not stolen, but it looks abandoned.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna bolt the door. Gonna lock the door again behind us.
Oh, well, maybe a little bit of light. And he clicks his fingers, and all of the candles that are sort of still left about the room, including the chandelier that's still there with a few candles on, all whoosh, ignite into flames.
Nice. Is there a curtain drawn, or is there a way we can block the windows?
There is a full curtain drawn because you used Gus to try and open it. So yeah, it's pretty. It's now light in here, but there's not really any way you can see in. Yeah. Well, and he pulls up a chair. I must say, it was a real honor to receive such a message from your druid magic, I assume, as he looks towards both of you.
Actually, yes, I suppose, in a way. But it's not the means of message that is important, but what we mean to discuss, I think, that we should focus on.
Please, you have wet my whistle, for a better want of a word. And I am greatly excited for this. You know, you are both, well, you are criminals according to the Inquisition. But having met you both, I think there must be some kind of misunderstanding, I'm sure.
Can I look into his eyes and think, is there any kind of shadiness there as he says that?
Make me an insight check, Azook.
That's a 22.
He is genuinely just so ecstatic to be invited out and have some kind of secret espionage that he's kind of part of. He, from your sort of encounters with him before, he's the shunned professor that people don't take his classes very much. He's a bit, he's a bit old, a bit senile, but he is so excited to be here. And very interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
He seems.
I guess I'll kind of look to Rufus and lead the conversation and be like.
Rufus pulls a kind of table and some chairs over and puts a little candle down in the middle, and you're currently sitting around it.
Yeah. So, without going into too much detail about what it is that we're doing.
Well, I mean, I'd quite like to hear it, if I may. All the details.
Gauging his espionage interest, I'm going to go, you have to understand that in our line of work, a certain amount of delicacy is needed.
Right, of course. And I assume there are things that I'm better not to know.
Exactly. It's like
He
it's
loves
just
it.
best left unsaid for both us.
You are quite right, young Master Gnomes. You are quite right.
Now, to engage in this secrecy, we need your word that what is spoken in this room does not leave these walls.
He does a sort of dramatic zip of his lips and locks it and throws it away across the room. In fact, using a little bit of sort of minor illusion to add to that effect.
Add a little key. Nice. We're after an artifact, which is why we contacted you, because you might know such things. It's been referred to as the Cubic Gate, and we know nothing about this item, only that supposedly you can pick it up and take it somewhere.
The Cubic Gate? Oh, well... he's got an all-important role. Ah, yes. Yes, I know. I know of the Cubic Gate. I do know. I can help you. I can tell you all about it.
Oh, this would be essential. Fantastic. Please.
But I must insist that perhaps I can be of more use than just some knowledge. Perhaps I can come along for this quest. See some adventure. Please, and he grabs at your hand. He says, my word is my bond, and I would not let it leave these four walls. You don't know what it's like in the university. No one lets me do anything. I just teach all day and mark, and they get me doing things that I don't want to be doing. That I'm a genius. I'm an archmage. Please, and then he kind of catches himself slightly. I have much to offer, and I am extremely capable.
Well, we can see that, Vandel. We can. Now, of course, there'd have to be some discussions. We're not working just the two of us. There are others involved, but we'd have to discuss it with them. We can contact you, though, should this be required. And I will endeavour to bring you along if that's what you want. We're no strangers to craving a sense of adventure. And I can imagine being stuck in a room as someone that lives and breathes the free air. You strike me as someone that would be beneficial to us, and we would be beneficial to you.
Well,
but again, I'm not the one to make the decision.
Quite right. You are not the leader of this group, then?
No.
And you are all gnomes and druids?
I can't disclose that at this juncture. I feel it's better to even leave that a secret.
Of course. Quite right.
But I can offer you my
Rufus
attempts
turns
to
and says,
convince
I am the
colleagues.
leader of the Gypsies of Fortune.
I turn to Rufus and go, yes, but we are a group that...
I cannot lie, Zook. You know this.
No, but I will add to your truth and say that much like a stream, the river is the most powerful, but it has tributaries, and without those, the river would be nothing, would it not?
Very, very wise indeed, wise words. Well, allow me to tell you what I know of this Cubic Gate. A powerful artifact, extremely powerful, one of a kind, or so it would seem. A Cubic Gate. There's only ever been discussion or logs and records of there ever being more than one. 'Tis just the Cubic Gate, not a Cubic Gate. It is not known how it was created. What we do know is it likely predates the Empire itself. Likely is not from the material realm, as its first, if I remember correctly, its first existence was logged by, I forget whom, but it was some sort of expeditionary. Yes, that was it. A group encountered within the astral sea a group of humanoid individuals known as the Gypsies. Now, there are many records of these Gypsies, and I believe their counterpart Githyanki. Yes, they possessed such a cube. And as I'm sure you are aware, the histories of the Gith themselves is very fractured and hard to understand. They escaped, you see, their race. They escaped essentially slavery and torment from mind flayers. Originally, they were different, and they were captured by the great minds and the hive minds of these flayers, and tormented for well, God knows how long. Magic knows how long, I should say. And the Gith eventually were freed. They rose up and they freed themselves from these bonds but they split into different groups. One, the Gith Yankee, a cruel, nasty sort, raiders and pillagers. There's accounts of them having brought their astral ships into the material realm to attack and pillage coastal towns.
I'll give Rufus a look at this point and say, that sounds familiar.
Whereas the Gypsies, a faction split from the Gith, also stayed within the astral sea. Incredibly rare and hard to find, but from what we do know of them, they use the astral sea and its potential for creation and imagination there to conjure up material from nothing. They create from their minds within the astral sea and have created themselves their own land, freed themselves from their slavery and created this place. Again, dangerous and strange creatures that shouldn't be dealt with. But the cubic gate, taken and stolen from the mind flayers, perhaps the mind flayers were the ones who created it, allowed the Gith in the earlier days, before they fractured, to travel between dimensions. For the cube itself, you see, it can be interacted with and used to take groups of people or individuals across dimensions. But I believe the sides of the cube were locked to specific dimensions and could not be changed.
But do you mean to say that there can only be 6 dimensions that this artifact can take you to?
That is correct. And I do not know which those are. One should be the material plane, and one the astral sea, for we have records of the Gith travelling to and from. And this cube was recovered in the material realm from said Gith.
A powerful artifact, a dangerous one in the wrong hands.
Indeed, and that is why it was kept under such lock and key for so long. I believe the Empire's vaults have it, if I'm not mistaken.
I see. And you still believe that the Empire's vault have it?
Once things enter the Empire's vaults, they're never seen again. I don't know where they go, or we are not privy to that. And
I see.
You'll never find it, I'm afraid. But this was fun to an extent.
And this is everything you know of the Cubic Gate?
As much as I can remember, yes.
Well, thank you, first and foremost. That is vital information, and it will help us greatly in what we intend to do.
Well, what do you intend to do?
Mandel, please. I know that you're craving adventure. I know that you want to be involved in this, and you could be, but it's not our decision, and I cannot give you any more information. But I see the burning in your eyes, and I will take that fire to my colleagues.
I have told you some extremely pertinent information, and I have more to offer. Please tell me something about what your plans are.
Let's just say that we do intend to acquire this Cubic Gate. And we may know where it is.
Well, I told you where it is. Is it not in the vaults? It's not in the vaults.
This city keeps surprising me, and those things that once were known by its citizens seem to be unreliable. How does he react to that?
He seems excited.
Oh.
Indeed, this city is wonderful and magical. I snuck these out. And he begins from his robes, pulling out some scrolls and places them on the table. 3 scrolls. I could say I was mugged, but I probably shouldn't give you 3. Maybe 1.
Say you were pickpocketed. There's plenty of those around. They would believe you, surely.
They would, but I'll be scolded somewhat by the other magocracy. Just 1.
Let's call it 2, and I'll make sure that your plight to come on this adventure is well heard.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Yeah. You nailed it.
It's a 13.
2 if you tell me a little bit more.
Okay, fine. We believe that the Cubic Gate might have something to do with a guild in the Merchants' Ward. And that it might be found somewhere within there.
Right.
But I can't for the life of me tell you which. You understand?
I understand. And you're sure I can't come and help? I am powerful at magecraft.
Vandel, I'm sure you could come and help. And I hope that you do, but it is not my decision to make.
Right. Well, 2, you may choose 2. It doesn't matter to me which, I'll be scolded nonetheless. He unfurls them and you can see, he says, 1 is a scroll of greater invisibility. 1 is a scroll of greater restoration, and 1 is a scroll of telekinesis. Now, the best thing about scrolls is that when you cast them, and you are both, of course, purveyors of the magical arts to an extent, they may not be spells that you have ever used before. And a scroll, you see, well, it bypasses that, and you can obviously cast this without, I should add, any material components necessary. Scrolls. They are, yeah, they are, certainly.
Well, it probably come as no surprise to you that the the scroll of greater invisibility would be very handy indeed.
I didn't know what your plan was, but I thought that any of these could be.
So we'll take that one. And in fact, probably the telekinesis too. The greater restoration is something I'm quite familiar with.
Oh!
Being a druid, healing is my business.
Of course, my humble apologies. Please, and he pushes them both across. As you go to reach them, he kind of puts his hand upon your hand as well, and looks like sort of directly at you. I'll be waiting for your word.
Quite. Is there a way that we can contact you easily?
Ooh.
I mean, we have our means, of course we do. But if you have a better way.
I have the means of contacting you. But I usually like to ask first, as it is directly into your head.
I'll permit that. Contact me tonight. Perhaps 2 hours after sundown. I'll make sure I'm listening.
Okay, I will do. What if it doesn't work? What if I can't get through?
Well, don't worry too much, but we'll try and contact you. If it's not tonight, then I'll at least try and do it by the morning.
I'll do some more research on this cubic gate, and I'll let you know if anything does crop up. Especially the guilds. I think I may already have some sneaking suspicions. It's been a pleasure.
That would be excellent.
Both of you. And he reaches over and really grasps both of your hands.
Love this dude.
I hope to see you soon.
Right, I must be away now. There's always people watching who goes in and out of the Andriont, but I have my ways.
I'll take. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to pluck a leaf off of the cloak. Oh shit! No, it's not in. No, don't worry. I was going to do something cool. But...
I bid you a good day, good night, even. And he pockets the other scroll and leaves. You see him leave and then whoosh, turn invisible and vanish.
Nice.
That guy's a character. I love him.
I love a wily wizard. Can we check to see if there's... I want to search the place before we leave, just to see if there's anything interesting.
Sure. Roll an investigation. I'll roll one for Rufus as well.
Oh, that's only an 11.
Unfortunately not. You look around the place, but it doesn't seem like anything's been left.
We'll try and leave by a back door if there is one.
There is not, interestingly.
Okay. I'm going to check the street first. I'm going to look out the window, just peeking it to the left. Check the street's clear.
Looking out, doesn't look like anyone's there.
Okay, yeah. We'll leave and we'll start heading back.
So you're heading back to the dock rats?
Yeah.
Richter, Dylan, and Dutch, you have exited the Kashmiri's sort of abode, and you are standing out in the streets of the working guilds. Where are you headed? Are you headed back to the dock rats?
Did we have a whole thing where we were being tailed? But we
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. You were tailed, but you managed to slip the tail, and then you were headed back.
Shook 'em.
Where?
I think we should.
Probably best to head back to.
Should I say that I'll approach?
Oh yeah.
Dylan will approach. Brother Drav will approach the other two.
From the shadows.
You were being tailed. The couple followed you from Kashmiri's.
By the collector's men, you think, or vagabonds?
I imagine they were members of the Mercers. We should head back to the hideout, the Dock Rat's hideout. And hopefully Zook and Rufus will find us there.
Best for us to travel together or to split up?
We can head back in the same fashion that we left Kashmiri's. I'll keep an eye out for any untoward hangers-on.
Thank you.
Right. See you back at home, brother.
See you shortly.
The three of you make your way through the city, and it's a fairly far way to go from where you are, sort of on that side of the city in the working guilds. It could be quicker if you hired a barge and travelled by boat. If not,
Dutch, let's get a gondola together, you and me.
Yeah, and then he'll have to swim like a dickhead.
What? Who has to swim? I'm confused.
Dylan.
I didn't even think. I mean, I assume he could probably, but I mean, that's up to you. I'm happy to have him on the gondola, but
I mean, yeah, it doesn't need to be romantic.
it's going to be romantic.
Your fantasy, two brothers.
A simple gold will
Two
suffice
brothers.
if someone wants to pay.
Yeah, I'll pay.
Dylan, how
Toss
are
a
you?
coin. I will also.
How are you gonna get back if they're getting well?
I mean, I guess he'll appear as he sees that they're getting the boat and
Also,
just
jump.
just jump on.
Cool.
I'll keep an eye out from the elsewhere. If Dutch is rowing or Richter, then I'll keep an eye out.
Roll me
You're
a
not getting
deception
rowed.
check, please.
Do we still have the oars of magical bouncing?
28.
No, you don't.
Dang.
That would be a great way to get around Xanthar.
They were
Yeah, just do
in.
some crazy taxi shit on all the rivers.
They were in the bag of holding that was lost
Oh.
when Richter died.
Have we hired a gondola for ourselves, or do we have a guy in a stripy shirt and a bow to hat?
It's bigger than a gondola. It's like a small barge.
Okay.
And there's enough room for a few more people than just you.
Oh, okay, right. We're just buying.
It would
Pay him off.
it would be
Lucas.
really quick. It would be really slow if you had a gondola, and that would be through the small canals, whereas you're kind of going down the main channels, which are pretty wide, like
Right,
Thames
okay.
style.
right through the Suez. All right.
Eventually, into the later hours of that evening, you all arrive back at the Dock Rats. Rufus and Zook, you arrive sort of a bit earlier, and you wait around for maybe an hour or so before the other three return.
I'll get some stew cooking.
Numbers
press the
is asleep,
seasoning.
but Gannon is pleased with the stew. He is all in when he knows someone else is cooking for a change.
Yay.
What stew is it?
It's
Roll
like
for what animal you caught.
it's like lots of root vegetables, like squash and parsnip. And maybe I'll let Gannon like cook up some meat on the side. Huh?
Did you roast the parsnip first so it has caramelized?
Yeah. We'll say we wrapped it in some leathers and like barbecued it, and then chopped it up and put it like in a pot.
Yeah, this is good.
Dutch tries to get a pot of traditional orcish gravy going, and I knock the pot down and say, "No, we have Xanthar brand Bisto here. Perfect."
I execute him on the spot.
It's a little
If
meta
an-
humor.
if
for the
anything-
viewers there.
If anything, Richter would probably know how to make orcish gravy better than Dutch.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Teach
Yeah,
me how
I've
to make
surrendered.
gravy.
Dutch would want the Bisto. Tastes like home.
Oh, Mike, I saw that. Mike's mad about that.
Fuck you guys.
So,
It's a
what
thick of
is
it, I
your
understand.
plan then, Gypsies of Fortune?
Make
Guess
gravy.
Stew and telling of tales, surely.
Yeah.
Dylan's gonna sort of suggest that we rest now and wake and attempt what we're going to attempt in the early hours of the morning, knowing that time is now
Ooh.
of
Interesting.
What was the did we I'm trying to remember. Sorry, what were the conditions of re-meeting Kashmiri? Did he give us a place or a time, or did he just say you'll be contacted?
He said that he'd contact you, but the deals of the next day were you potentially selling one of your stones to him.
Yes. Yeah.
And there wasn't much else in terms of the next deal. I think the things that you learnt while you were there were that the Cubic Gate was sold recently to the Mercers, along with some beasts and monsters. One of which was that spider-like creature. That was the main takeaway from that engagement.
Because of course there isn't really any essential reason for us to see Kashmiri again.
Oh no!
I was thinking if we did have time, I could go. What happened? Oh, am I there?
You've caught
You
up.
went
You've
over
caught up.
Richter.
It went slow and then sped up.
Okay, I've caught up. Okay.
Like
If we did meet him, I could go to the meeting as Hammond, and then halfway through the meeting, I could disguise self into a practical and say, "This is a raid," because I've been planting all this stuff along the way of, not a lot of practicals around here, not a lot of Inquisition. But we might not even go and see him again. It's just the idea is there because he had some idea, maybe as to Celeste, but don't know.
I think he's just
bullshitting us.
I think I think he knows where she is, but we already know where she is. I don't think there's any more information to be had.
Sure, I guess so, yeah.
We're just gonna pay to find out something we already know, unless I'm wrong. And yeah,
that makes sense.
What if we just went to Eldama and killed everyone?
Oh,
we would
How
be
do you
going
find
against Randala's wishes then, wouldn't we? And not only wishes, but like what she suggested.
Yeah.
Right?
Just throwing it out there is still an option.
Yeah, it's definitely an option.
yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
Zook would fill in everyone about what happened today, but specifically note that the estate is in the process of preparing for a great banquet, which looks to be happening in the next, maybe maybe tomorrow evening, maybe the day after. So the whole house is there's lots of activity at the moment. That could work to our advantage. It might not. I'm not sure. He'll reiterate that he could probably get us in. And also he's going to talk about Fandel's interest in joining us and really plug that it would be a good idea to bring along a wizard that we are lacking, or anyone with arcane knowledge and knowledge of the Cubic Gate along with us.
So Zook, you have as good insight into anyone's true intentions as any, and if you believe that his intentions are merely to aid us, then I'd be more than happy for him to accompany us.
He does just seem like an excited old man that's been kept indoors for too long. I mean, it's like gold falling into your hands. Or I suppose
I was going on my own intuition. I would not be trusting. However, this is you. I've never known someone to read people as well as you.
Well, he doesn't seem... I mean, if he was working with the Inquisition, I imagine we'd already have been caught. If he was working with the gangs, again, it just doesn't make sense for a man of his position. He seemed genuine.
Even so, how can we play this safely?
Well, I can bring him with us into the estate. There's
He should
numbers.
meet us on a neutral ground. He should definitely not come here.
No, absolutely. I would say that if we were planning to go in the early hours of tomorrow morning, then we would meet him somewhere near, maybe in the Merchants Guild somewhere, and we could take him with us. But he said he might have more information about the gate, which is another thing I wanted to talk to you all about. This gate is an incredibly powerful artifact.
Should we say for expediency, you fill us in?
Yeah, I fill you in.
Yeah.
What I'm
Richter
concerned
feels
about.
a little bit shook by the gift knowledge, but he doesn't know whether or not he should feel much about this because he's been a gift for about 5 minutes. So.
Did you hear
But-
all the stuff that I said
Identity.
about that, Aidan?
Sorry, I heard pretty much all of it. Yeah, my connection cut in a few places, but I've moved to a much better room now.
The key takeaways are there are two types of Gith.
Yes.
One, the Gith Zerai, and one, the Gith Yankee. And as far as you know,
And they all hate mind flame. What do
you're
I?
probably a Gith Yankee.
Yankee. I'm a Yankee boy.
Which is the
Thank you.
Which is the evil one. You're evil.
I mean, yeah, basically.
You know, that's a complex. You know,
Very
dare you?
black and white
SOB.
indeed.
Those are my people.
My concern, though, with this artifact is, should we be giving it to Eldama? I mean, giving the gateway to other worlds to a criminal underworld that wants nothing more than gold. I mean, we've seen the corrupted influence that money can have on things, on peoples like the Silvermark Brotherhood.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please, I'm all ears.
I think
So
we
to
should
speak.
have another discussion with Randala. Explain to her the gravity of what it would mean for this group to have such a powerful artifact.
Aye,
It matches.
she's not going to like it. But will she want it for herself? She's not going to want us to give it to her, is she?
Better the devil you know.
I suppose. Not that I like any kind of devil.
Quite. However, me and Dutch know Randala.
Dutch,
She
what
is
do
what
you
she
think?
is.
What's Randala's like? What's she like? Is she trustworthy?
She's trustworthy.
Aye.
I screwed her out of thousands of gold. She took us both back in, and all of you lot. So yeah, she's pretty fucking trustworthy.
So be it.
As trustworthy as the head of one of the most notorious criminal gangs this continent's ever seen can possibly be, I suppose.
Well, you two are okay, I suppose, and you came from the same place.
Yeah. You ain't
I don't
fuck
see-
your own.
Indeed.
Celeste's
So?
safety is the most paramount thing right now.
Aye.
The ramifications of what we do, we must consider later.
I want to know that everyone is agreed that it's a good idea to invite Fandel on this quest.
Invite a really, really powerful wizard who just seems hell bent on helping us. Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's how I saw it.
Good.
Okay then.
He
I'll,
is
see
pretty
if-
weird, though, isn't he? Says Ruthus.
Ruthus, what was your first?
Life by a tree, and now you're a fucking gnome.
I know we do this quite a lot, but if this goes well, and his help does indeed aid us, there might be an open invitation for him to accompany us back to Amiri.
I should say. He'd be a great benefit to the town. And he seems really, really bored with the university. So there's motive to move.
He could start his own university, and then we'd have a druid school and a wizard school, and the pub. Great.
How long has he been at the university?
Well, he said he hadn't actually left it for a decade, so I imagine quite some time. He is an elf. Is he an elf? He's an elf.
He is now.
And
Yes.
did our good friend Waylon, when did he come to Umiri? Could they have met?
That is a
possible.
good question. Richter, are you able to communicate with Waylon?
I am.
Perhaps
Our
we could
thoughts are
ask
aligned.
him if he knows this gentleman.
he could give us a reference. Very well. Any other messages to convey before I shoot my load?
Have we asked him about the cubic gate?
I don't think
Have
we
we
have.
Waylon? No, I don't believe so.
It's maybe the right
Okay.
time.
All right. Very well. Closing my eyes, I picture a hunched, brittle, foul little man with a heart of pure strain gold, sort of tarnished gold, rose gold, gold leaf. And I communicate these. Waylon, Richter here. Shit. What's the guy's name?
Andel.
Damn. Randall. Okay. Can we mess it up? I remember that.
Fandel.
Randall. Okay.
The Antiquitor.
Metz Fandel, Antiquitor. You know him? Can you vouch for him? Also, seeking cubic gate. Any advice? Say hello to Silas. Bye. Can't do it without the fingers. Just can't do it.
No.
I can't count 25 words in my head.
I'm going to do it as well with my fingers. It's the only way. Richter. Fandel, old buffoon.
Oh.
But nice enough. Never heard of Cubic Gate. Please be careful of my brother. He is not to be messed with.
I relay that information. His brother is Wendelin, right? Yes, thought so. Yeah. I relay all of that information.
Yeah, because
Buffoon.
You'd already contacted him once before about his brother, and he'd said, like, don't.
Yeah. Burn that letter now. Yeah.
He's keeping that. Yeah, no mention of
Brother.
Brother. Yes, that's what you get in return.
Okay. Well, I have business to attend. I need to contact Fandel, or he will be contacting me a few hours after sundown. So I'd like to be outside when that happens, because I don't think it's going to work in here. And I also have some business upon the ocean that I might need to tend to. Short business, but might help with us figuring out the state that Celeste is in. So I'll be going out for a quick night walk, or float, if you will.
How long do we have before sort of like we would need to? Are we going to go ahead with the heist in the early hours of the morning?
I guess so, because we only have tomorrow, and then maybe we have to give the amulets back in the evening.
Definitely
The following morning.
Hack these, are they?
That's the following morning after that.
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
you hack magical items? Is that like a thing? Can you recharge them?
It's not that they need to be recharged.
Roll an Arcana check?
I mean, I'm not going. This isn't going to go well.
I mean, you've paid essentially that because you've paid for that amount of use of them.
Yeah,
Right.
Until you've got to give them back.
We bought a power bank at a festival. We can't recharge it.
So we have 20 hours from this coming morning. Is that correct?
24, because you've got to give it in 24 hours
yeah.
in the morning.
That's what I said. Yeah. So we could do the following evening if we want to do another day of reconnaissance, which might be pertinent because then we've got more time to sort of gather information.
Yeah.
True.
we might have more information from Fandel.
However, we want to hightail out of here as soon as we've got Celeste, because we're going to be limited with what we can do.
Yeah.
Once we've handed the medallions back, so we may want to have the day with the medallions to sort of arrange transport out.
Yep, that's what I was thinking.
So
yeah,
the early hours
medallions are over. Yeah, we got to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Remind me again, have you ever sent a message or anything to Eldama or anyone like that?
Nope.
No.
Don't think so.
We could do that.
That wasn't a hint in any way. I just couldn't remember whether you'd done that or not.
No.
You tried to message Celeste, that was it, and you couldn't. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then there was the whole tower thing, and yeah. We just got this side.
Interestingly, your spell wouldn't have worked, Richter. Because it's sending and you're within the dock rats thing. But you would have known that, and I will just say that you left into the sewers and did it from there.
Thank you.
To expedite that, because that's something that you guys are aware of. Hence, Zook was going to leave as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, shall I let Fandel know to meet us, say, just gone midnight? Or later than that?
Are we doing this thing this evening?
We only have a certain amount of time.
We know where the gate is located.
We do.
We don't know specifically where. I kind of feel like we're going into this a little bit blind still.
Well,
we have the following evening. Me and Dutch are still not a threat from being found by the Inquisitors. Is there anything else? Do we think we can head into this thing a little bit more prepared, is what I'm asking.
Only by somehow learning where he keeps it.
So what do you know so far then? Says Gannon, eating some of his stew.
Can we just sort of relay everything we found out with regards to...
Well, if it was me and I was doing a heist, I'd probably want to know a bit more. Like, you don't even know where the fucking gate is. You assume it's on the estate. I probably assume it's on the estate. What's the name? Oh, Numbers, he shouts over to the other side of the room. What's the name of the bloke that... head of the Midnight Mercers? You must know that. Do you know that? Did you relay that to him? Do you guys know that?
We said that, didn't we? I've got it written down. Not here, I don't. Lord Balthazar.
That's it, Lord Balthazar. I mean, I never heard of the guy, but what a name. I don't know, couple things I might do. I'd want a map. I want to see where I'm going. If you're going in this mansion or wherever, I want to know exits, I want to know entries. Sure, you scoped it out from above, but you don't know the inside. You know where you're going. You could be wandering around that place for ages. I want to get inside intel. Maybe question some guards. Go to a few brothels, find them. Pay them off. I don't know. Get some info. Dirty style. It's probably what I'd do.
Torture him.
Yeah, I'd want to do that, but word got back that they'd been tortured. People will get onto the fact there's people wanting information out of their guards, and you don't want none of that.
Seems like we should play to our strengths here, and it's without a doubt that we should try and gather more information than we already have.
There might be an opportunity for that this evening. I did, when I was there, overhear two guards. They said they were going to drink at the Coin and Gasket or something this evening. Or at least that's it. Their names were Lears and Jasquin. The Coin and Kiln Inn, they said they were going to drink. We could potentially go there tonight.
absolutely could.
And see it.
Sounds good, but I
acquire
think we
them.
should separate. We need to know the lay of the land of this place. Anyone that's willing to come with me, I would like to head to Lord Balthazar's estates and find entrances in, out. Almost do the heist before we actually do it. Find out where his vault is. If you guys found information from the guards, then I can figure out the geography, what we need to know.
And you're going to do that alone?
Of course not.
No.
We split into 2 teams.
Okay, who's going where? Richter should probably do talking again, right?
I would say that is what I am probably best at.
I'm also
rather
quite
than
good at
sneaking through estates.
negotiating, but I can't lie, says Ruthus. I will accompany Richter.
I'll
You can't
meet
lie. Can you omit information? If you're asked something, can you just not answer it?
Absolutely. I don't have to answer. I just can't speak falsely. I can't speak untruths, it would seem.
Can you write them? No, never mind. Okay, but we can work with that.
I haven't tested it thoroughly.
And if
Write down, Richter, you're a woman on a piece of paper and hand it to me.
He begins scrawling that down, and as he gets to the W section, he just sort of stops. No, I can't do it.
So that bit in
Something
Liar
in
Liar
me
where he
will
can't
not-
write the pen is blue.
Something in me will not allow it. It is an untruth, and he scrawls the bits of paper on it and throws it across the room.
Good to know.
I cannot willingly lie, but if I know information that is false and I believe it to be true, I think that's a way round it. I don't think the king would
Oh.
approve.
whenever we pretend to do something, we have to pretend that we're really doing it to you, and then we're fine.
You could tell me all I need to know about the situation. Keep me in the dark somewhat. But I am leader of this ragtag
Super.
group, and I don't want that to happen.
It's now a group policy that we will all gaslight the leader for his own good.
Right, it's canon. When Josh gets back, don't tell him shit.
Right.
He just presumes that, well, it's all like righteous and
Yeah. Well, looks like you got a plan then.
Yeah. Before we leave, when should I tell Fandel to meet us? Tonight or tomorrow night? Perhaps we spend the day gathering more information.
Again, and well, I mean, Dutch, do you wish to come with me and scout out the estate?
I could
Depends
come.
where everyone thinks I'll be best. In a pub or being sneaky.
I mean, I'm
Well,
good. I could. Sorry, Richter.
No, please, you go ahead. Talk to your brother.
I mean, I'm more than capable, but if I get myself into a situation I can't slip out of, sometimes fists are useful.
I'll go with you then. It's always worked before.
And Zook, how about you could accompany us
Richter sort
until
of
you
quietly
need to-
sighs in relief when he hears that, and he hopes Dutch doesn't notice. It's like, oh god, he's gonna start a fucking fight in the bar. Oh god.
Don't worry, and Ruthus puts a hand on your shoulder. We've got this.
I
believe
will
you. You're telling the truth.
probably, my appearance will probably only confuse the guards in the inn, so perhaps it is best that I come with you.
And you
I
can
can
always
master
go and
that.
meet. I keep forgetting this dude's name.
Fandel?
Yeah, Mandel. When he
Van-
contacts you.
Aye, that's true. Do we know? Sorry, Tash. Do we know about the amulets? Would they stop a message from coming through, or is it just scrying?
You can roll me an Arcana check if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been receiving messages wearing it.
15.
Yeah, from also previous experience, it seems like it's things to do with your location.
Right.
So scrying, so that's something where they can see kind of where you are. They can actually physically see you. Other kind of forms like locate creature, things like that, you assume are kind of what it is blocking. Whereas things that don't reveal your location but can still get to you, like message or sending, seem to work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll come with the Brothers Grey, I think.
Okay. In that case, you split up. Rufus and Richter and Gannon apparently going to this tavern known as the Coin and what was it?
Coin and Kiln.
Coin and Kiln.
Yeah.
That was it. I've got those notes are written in your chat. The Coin and Kiln to meet with a Rufus.
Jasquin.
Yeah, Jasquin and
Lears.
that's it. Jasquin.
Jasquin and Liz.
Jasquin and Lears.
Lears. Okay.
Who Zook saw at the.
They were two guards posted on the outside of the estate that said they were going to go drinking in this tavern.
So, first of all, roll me an investigation check, Richter. You can have advantage as Gannon is assisting you.
Well, hey. There we go. I'm going to need it. There we go. Right. First roll is a 10. Not great. Second roll is a 14.
A 14 takes you a bit, but eventually you locate the. It's now pushing maybe 10 o'clock by the time you've come all the way back to Dock Rats and you're going all the way out. It is within the working guilds, so you've headed like all the way across the city and all the way back through the city. But eventually, you come across a it's built in what looks to be a kind of a smeltery or like some kind of ceramics kind of workshop. There is a tavern at the front, and there are like loads of benches and tables with lots of workers drinking on it. You spot a few like apron like wearing sort of smiths. Some leather workers. You see a couple of guards off duty, that sort of thing. There's no merchants here. It's like a working pub. You and Rufus begin to approach.
But as we do, I'm just going to quickly confer with Rufus.
Yes.
So, just to be clear, before we go into this thing, we're trying to get some information about the layout of the Mercer estate. Am I right?
We've got Gannon there to help.
Gannon says, no, what we need to find out, information from these guards, but without letting them know we're trying to figure out information, right? Don't want them catching on like we're sniffing at their gates, you know? We don't want them knowing that there's people trying to follow them, trying to gauge this information. We've got to get out and we'll give them a few drinks, we'll do some wagers, you know, the usual. But then we find out some information about it and potentially find out who made the place. If we can figure out who made that place, or how many years ago it was made, there'll be a map. There's always a map of something big like that. I've done heists of taverns, and there's always a floor plan or something of an old tavern. Someone will have it. It'll be on a deed or something like that.
Thank you, Gannon. That's invaluable advice. I appreciate having someone who knows espionage.
Hey, and I appreciate having Rufus by my side to basically kick some ass if anything goes wrong. You seen this fucker? He pulls his like shirt down. There's this big fucking scar across from here, but it's all kind of like it's all knitted up quite cleanly from the sunblade, the green sunblade.
Making friends, eh, Rufus?
Well, we had a bit of a scrap, didn't we, Rufus? I showed him a thing or two about throwing sand in your eye Always a classic.
Love this guy.
Right,
Okay.
in we go.
All right.
Twit twoo, mask of many faces. Twit twoo. There's a pigeon whispering in Richter's ear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm trying to decide. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. I am going to as we approach the tavern, I'm going to don the appearance of a elven. Damn, I'm trying to think of an elf we've met recently who I could just appear as, who they're not going to know.
You had all the time to think about this on your way. So what we'll do is, while you're thinking about that and approaching the tavern, the other three, you guys make your way, along with Richter and Rethus, back to the working guilds. Zook knows where the estate is. And as you sort of begin to approach the outskirts, like through the streets, you can see ahead, down at the end of the street, the walled estate. You can see the walls, the 20-foot high walls with those black sort of spikes at the top, and there's a large sort of gate that's currently shut. There's a couple of guards standing duty there, and Zook, you remember there are occasionally wooden watchtowers. Interestingly, Zook, you can see that the watchtowers have fires lit within the watchtower itself, maybe a brazier. You can see a glowing light from each of the watchtowers. They're pretty visible.
Okay. First things first, Ook is going to find a vantage point by this main gate and sort of watch there and see when the guards will change over.
Okay. How long are you willing to wait?
Well, in the meantime, I'd like to do a loop of the perimeter and just sort of gauge the architecture that surrounds the estate. And at the same time, I'll be keeping an eye out for all the guards that I see. I'd like to, if possible, before we left, I'd like to have maybe got some like parchment and just so I can just do like a very rudimentary sketch and then sort of mark down where I see guards.
Okay.
So like when we get a map, I can then apply that to the.
Yeah. So, as some things that Zook already knows, so apologies if I'm saying this again. As you begin making your way sort of casually along the road that leads around the walled estate, it is vast. You know, the arc of the wall itself isn't too great, and Zook's seen it from above. In order to do a circumference of the entire thing, you'd likely be walking for a couple hours.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get, unless you want to spend like a few hours walking around the whole thing, you get an immediate
It takes
gauge.
a couple of hours to walk around the whole thing.
Yep.
That's okay. I think we could probably spend that time, couldn't we? And then,
Yeah, as I was going around, as we're walking, as my thieves' tools, you let me homebrew it as crowbar.
Yep.
Can I look for breakable ways to get in? Like, is there a rusted bit in a gate where I could lever it and pop the joint and be able to bend the bars?
So you're looking for areas as you go.
Yeah.
Keeping anything that looks, we're just keeping an eye out for anything, any
Okay.
points of intrigue
So roll
that
me
might.
either perception or investigation, please, everyone.
I'll go for an investigation.
Can I give Theo advantage? Can we do that way?
Yep.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Let's see.
Thank you, DM.
Oh, if you're proficient in it, you can.
Yeah, I am.
There you go.
Thieves' tools. Oh wait, hang about. It's not a skill.
Well, you're not using your thieves' tools. You're looking for things that you could use it on in the future. So you're using investigation, which do you have proficiency in?
Oh fuck.
I can take the first roll.
No.
Yeah, you got to take the first roll. Sorry.
That's cool.
Oh,
So
that's my bad.
It was better,
Mike,
fortunately.
you can just roll a separate investigation.
A dirty 30.
Jesus.
Ooh.
An unnatural one.
Jesus.
Yin and yang.
No, it's intelligence investigation, Mike.
Oh, then 3.
Hey.
Makes the difference. And Zook, your perception?
I got a 28 for my perception.
28. Okay. Yeah, you spend the next 2 hours, roughly, circling the entire estate. You can see that there are small, sort of wooden made watchtowers. You know, they're sort of like spindly legs with a kind of roofed tower at the top. Behind the wall, about 100 feet intervals. So there's a lot of them, but they are about 100 foot off from each other. You can see that there's a singular sort of like guard within them that's kind of keeping a lookout, just kind of watching about. They look really bored, and there is a brazier lit in each one. Occasionally you hear the yapping of dogs from over the other side of the wall, and Zook reminds you that he saw guards with a few dogs kind of patrolling the grounds. As far as like gaps in the wall and things like that, it's well maintained. The kind of working guilds in general is a very, you know, well maintained, well made district with all its kind of workers and industry. You know, everything is kept to a very good standard, and the walls look like they're clean of any kind of damage or even like vegetation. They're kept well maintained. So there's no gaps. However, there are 4 different entrances, north, south, east, and west. The one that you approached on originally was the south gate, and all the gates kind of look to be pretty much the same. They're about sort of 20 feet wide, big iron sort of gates.
Are they guarded? They're guarded quite heavily.
The gates each have 2 guards on the outside, standing sort of either side, and have 2 guards on the inside.
Okay.
The ones that are on the inside are sitting down and are kind of smoking and chilling. In fact, some are playing dice, like sitting at a small table, whereas the ones on the outside are kind of on guard and they're looking out.
Sounds like a pretty cushy job.
The guards seem to be armed with like sword and shield or spear, and the ones in the tower have a short bow and a bunch of arrows. That's as much as you gauge from your time walking around.
When we finish walking around, I'm going to pull the other 2 over out of sight of the gate, just whisper low, saying, just to let you know, I can get us inside the estate tonight if you wanted to look around, but we'd have to be very careful once we were in there. Possibly we could go in. I don't know how you 2 feel about this, but you could become a pigeon and then a fly and then anything we needed to be to fit anywhere we needed to be. But I can only do that once, and if we turn back into our normal selves, that's it. That's over. And then I'm not sure how we'd get out of it. So either we can sneak in and then fly out, or we can fly in and figure out a way to get out after that. But that's an option if you wanted to explore inside the estate tonight.
What is the quietest flying thing?
Well, I flew over in nighttime. A pigeon will not be looked twice at. It wasn't in the daytime. I managed to circumvent the estate without trouble.
If there's a pigeon inside, someone's throwing a book at it. Or a hammer.
A beetle.
Yeah.
A fly. An ant. But these things you're not going to be able to see well. These things live on a smaller scale. They can look a foot in front of them because that's miles to them. I know. I've been one. It's strange. So while you'll be able to go undetected, I'm not sure how much we'd be able to gauge from just being a fly or an ant or a beetle.
There's fucking rats everywhere.
Oh, yeah. It's almost.
How about this? You 2 turn into small creatures that I can easily fit in a pocket or sit on the brim of my hat.
I want to be a pocket rat.
I will then turn myself invisible and I'll scale the walls.
Noted.
It sounds perfect.
Who's going to notice a floating rat, or 2 floating rats for that matter?
Especially when they're underneath my hair.
Indeed.
How scalable do the walls look? Are they like sheer stone, or are there holds, handhelds in there?
It's large sort of brick stone.
Okay,
So
they are
so
great.
between you could scale them.
Presumably that would be an athletics check. to
It would
climb?
be an athletics, yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, okay.
Remember, I've always got grappling hooks you can borrow.
Could be a bit loud.
Grappling hooks are
Just in case you
may
need
go
to get
noticed.
out quick.
I think I can manage. And with that, my bones start to crack and I become a hybrid werewolf creature.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm just going to say to Drow, listen, what if we just fly over and meet you in there? Or perhaps we should stay in your pocket.
Sure, fly over and I'll see you over there.
Where shall we meet?
I don't know.
So
I
you'll
don't
be
know what it's
invisible.
like in there.
If you're going to be invisible, maybe we should just stay in your pocket so we know where you are.
Sure. How does that work
We'll
for
do that.
invisibility?
So I've done this in
Actually-
James's campaign, and he ruled that if you're under the cloak,
Yeah.
you're not see-through. So yeah, that they also can be invisible in it, and I think that's
Okay.
better.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Okay,
seem broken.
nice.
You know, like
There.
there's a lot of downsides to it, and for if it's a bit like the invisibility cloak, you know, as long
Yeah,
as
sure.
they're underneath it, it's like they can
They're still
pass too.
tiny creatures.
Yeah, it requires a lot of spells to achieve, and I think it's necessary. Like that's a worthy sort of payoff.
Sure.
It's a good balance, yeah.
Cool. So I'll put my hand on Dutch's head. I'll float up and put my hand on Dutch's head. It's like time to be a dock rat like you've never known before. And the tree, the staff of high canopy, pumps with a sort of greenish yellow energy as all of Dutch's veins pulse green and yellow as well. And just like you've seen Zook do before, you start shriveling down your great form. And a rodent snout protrudes from your face as whiskers sort of start eking out, and your voice gets higher and higher until it is just a squeak, as does mine.
I'm just sending you, Mike. I've sent you a rat. So you're casting polymorph on him, correct?
I'm casting animal shapes
Animal
at
shapes.
8th level.
Oh fuck!
So I can-
very
8th
different.
level.
Very different. For up to 24 hours, I can change both of us into any animal, different animals, up to a challenge rating of 4 as an action.
Wait, what the fuck is CR4? Is that like Dire Bear?
Yeah, Direwolf is CR1. So, yeah, some quite good stuff.
It's so good. It's so good. 8th level spells. You can
They are nuts.
transform. I didn't realize this. You can transform anyone within range.
Yeah, I can transfer any number of willing creatures within 30 feet. We could
Does it
pack
have
in
to
like
be-
a.
You could transform so many people with that.
I could
Like a fucking
transform. I
army.
could transform an angry mob if I convinced them to become dire bears.
Oh,
Not dire bears, big bears.
I mean,
be like
saying
that scene
if
in The
you
Witcher.
crammed loads of people into a 30-foot space, and then they
all
became
become
bigger, there might be some like,
they'd
you know,
take
like the
bludgeoning damage.
bit of the
watermelon
bear jam at the end of all
spawning
that.
all the watermelons in oblivion, you know, like, and it just freaks out and hits you and damages you until you are also skittering among the watermelons, ragdolling. Oh, that's insane. Okay, in that case, I think so. They're transformed into them. Do they retain? It retains
retain
alignment,
their-
intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So
Yeah,
you are aware
It's
that
like
you are
wild
a rat.
shape.
Oh my god, that's so much better than polymorph.
Yeah. But
Amazing.
it's 8th level, so it should be.
Yes, that is true. This
Dutch's intelligence is boosted.
druidic magic is strong,
It's different.
and both of you, it hits different, and both of you are transformed into rats.
Rat.
And snatching these little ratatouilles up, you pop them under your hat so they can control you, and the large hybrid wolf-like creature, you're going to turn invisible.
How tall are the walls?
20 foot, and then some
Okay.
spikes. But the spikes are those like just deterrent sort of, tar-covered ones like you get in London.
I would. So, but is there a walkway along the top?
No, not at all. It's like an estate's wall rather than like a walkable battlement.
Can make this a little bit easier for myself, but I don't know how it works if I've got creatures on my person. I'd like to get 30 foot away.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, this
Oh, I know what you're thinking.
You can roll me an Arcana check if it's a spell.
yeah,
What are you attempting to do so I can answer
Arcana
your
check.
question?
Okay, it's quite good. So I would like to Misty Step to the top.
Okay, let's have a look. Pretty sure that's not.
No, isn't it like you turn into a cloud?
Yeah, that is not going to work. You cannot teleport and take creatures with you with a Misty Step.
I just thought maybe that's fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
be like a-
because they're living
the
things.
Arcana. The Arcana was over 20 on the
Yeah,
Arcana
so
check.
you know that would not work.
Okay, that's fine. So, sort of, Dylan shakes his head, knowing that's a stupid idea, and then just instead casts invisibility, and then just starts making his way to try and scale the wall.
Okay, make me an athletics check.
Okay. Ooh, first one's a natural 20.
Oh.
It's easily done with your kind of slight clawed hands. You grip the stone, kind of huck yourself up.
I'd like to do this stealthily.
Roll me a
FYI.
stealth check for your landing.
Okay. Oh, that's a 1. And that's 14. So 30, I think, is. Yeah.
It's
30.
it's like
Paddy Paul.
a slow 3-point landing that turns into a roll that's like so incredibly quiet. You even hold your hat on so that the rats don't escape, and you come up looking out.
I imagine
through-
their little claws are like clenched into my hair.
Yeah. Their little
so cute.
snouts are their little sort of whiskers are poking out. They're like, those they're just like those black beads of eyes on the sides of the head that are bulging, and they're staring into the night. You can see ahead of you is a well-maintained wood. There's cultivated grass. It's not like a bare forest floor. It's like a lawn of grass with occasional trees.
Yeah.
It's well maintained and it's very open and sort of sparse. It's not really a wood, more of like a kind of wooded garden almost. And you can see torchlight of the occasional patrol, which looks to be a couple guards, and you see a few hounds alongside them doing kind of various rotations ahead of you. To your left, maybe 50 feet, you can see the gate with the two guards are currently playing dice. One of them kind of goes, "Ah, well, fuck. Well, there you go then, you bastard." What are you doing?
I'd like to sort of make my way deeper into the estate, avoiding dogs and
Okay. What was your stealth
guards
roll?
are like a dirty 30.
Dirty 30. Okay. Let me just roll some dice. So you avoid on your route. It's because you can see them. You do avoid them, and you cannot really be seen from afar. However, what I will roll is for the 3 dogs traveling with the patrol closest to you, I will roll a perception check for the dogs. Let me just see. I need to get the stats up for these dogs. Which I believe with a... So they have advantage, but even with advantage, their perception, their plus on their perception is never going to beat a 30. So you are undetectable. Even your wolf smell is hidden by where you're choosing to move and where you're choosing to be. The dogs at one point do sniff the air, like they catch the scent of something, but they continue to move on. And eventually, you work your way through the grounds. And ahead of you now, you can see the estate. It's sort of slight on a rise in the middle of this kind of huge walled area. You can see the manor house itself. Most of the lights are lit, and you can see that there are, even at this late hour, there's a couple of people outside that look to be still setting things up. There's not much noise, and you do see a few guards that are sort of patrolling the gardens. It becomes more like those little low hedges and cut-shaped bushes, little fountains, gravel walkways, that sort of thing. From where you are, you can faintly see, in fact, you wouldn't see, so you would not sense, so you don't. That was for the rats, if anything.
Yeah.
My perception's great. I've got higher wisdom as a rat as Dutch does as himself.
Well, you retain your wisdom, not the
you
rats.
retain, yeah.
So it doesn't go up; it stays worse.
What a shit rat. Brilliant.
Where are you going to go, Brother Draug?
Were there any other buildings or like that were noticeable, or like I'm sort of like maybe potentially a guardhouse might be good. I think I don't know. Maybe it might be a good place to try and find a map of the estate if they're in the guardhouse. I don't know if they would keep one there.
I'll get I'll get Zook to roll me a perception check as you peek out of the hat.
Perhaps I could even like at points just like get him out, like if I'm behind a tree and just hold him and sort of like point him in the right direction.
Scan,
Point me like a rate,
scan
just
him.
like a
Yeah,
like a
hold
laser
him
detector.
like a Geiger
Yeah.
counter.
Yeah.
That is a 31
Jeez.
as a rat.
There on the left-hand side of the estate, there seems to be some like greenhouses and some gardens, as well as like some sort of an allotment area. Behind the manor, because you approach from the south again, which is a big loop. Behind the manor, you can see the maze, or see the high hedges of the maze.
Yeah.
But there doesn't look to be like an outhouse. There are on the right-hand side, on the lawns, there looks to be some like tents, some kind of canvas marquees that have been set up in preparation for whatever event is happening.
This is quite late at night now, isn't it? So it's obviously not happening tonight.
Yeah. No, it's about midnight. In fact, it's roughly midnight at the moment.
I'll communicate to Zook that like he maybe 1 squeak for yes, 2 squeaks for no, or vice versa, and that's how we're sort of communicating.
I'll say
rudimentary
you can
questions.
communicate some basic things.
Yeah,
and
obviously nothing too complicated.
yeah.
I'll look and squeak if I notice anything.
Where would you like to head?
Towards the manor house.
Okay, I'd like you to make me another stealth check then, please. And can I get stealth checks from the rats as well?
Oh God.
So that means you, Mike, stealth check from the rat.
Oh no.
Do they get advantage if they're invisible under the hat?
Yeah, they do get advantage.
Okay.
Okay, for 19.
19.
11.
Oh, okay.
25.
You begin approaching the manor, working your way through the gardens. You keep off of the gravel paths that would probably be quite loud, and instead hop over the low shrubbery and eventually make your way up towards the estate itself. There are some nice lawns sort of laid out around the grand manor, and you sense the kind of stonework, and you sense movement of various people, but luckily being invisible, you are not spotted by any of the watchers that you would probably not have sensed the guards up on the walls or on the balconies of the Okay. So you can sense from where you are near the servants' entry. You're kind of near the canvas tent area. And Zook, you having been here before, you remember that you saw there was an entrance that wasn't the main entrance. There was like a servants' entrance where they're kind of bringing in food. It looks to be open at the moment because there are still a couple of servants that are still setting up, and you can see the same butler standing outside, getting with his arms crossed, getting really cross with a couple of younger servants that clearly haven't finished their duties, perhaps. And the door is still open.
I squeak very quietly and kind of nudge my nose in the direction of the door to make Draug aware of it if he can't see it.
Yeah. I'd like to. How possible is it to do like a sort of a quick loop of the manor? Is it like huge, so it would take a while? Or...
It's not. It's like a large manor, but it's not like a kind of palace. So it'd take I think like 10 minutes to go around the whole thing.
I'd just like to gauge every single entrance exit.
So as far as your kind of range would go along the ground floor, you take the time to kind of span all around. Let me pull up my thing so I can tell you exactly. So there is ground floor. You make your way around. It's not just like a big square. It's more like a long rectangle, but certain bits stick out, and it's very sort of higgledy-piggledy in places. There is a main entrance right in the center that is beneath a balcony. So there's lots of pillars. You'd have to go up some steps under a kind of outdoor courtyard bit, and then there's the main entrance. There is many windows, but no other entrances on that front, other than the one that you passed on the left-hand side, which is the servants' entrance. Scouting all the way round, there is again a similar balcony sort of thing on the back where there's like a bunch of pillars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pillars across with a kind of a slightly raised outdoor area that is symmetrical to the one on the front. But there is no big entrance. There's just 2 like huge windows on that side. But there is a tiny entrance on that side. You sense the kind of hollow of the door, and Zook would see there is. So if you were facing the front, it would be on your right, but it's around the back. So looking at the back, it's on your left. Right in the corner, there is maybe a servant's entrance or a small door that leads into the back.
Okay, I'll approach this.
Approaching and testing the door.
Yeah, I'll have a listen behind the door first, see if there's anyone immediately behind it. Or sense. I can sense it, right? Like,
sensing behind the door, there doesn't seem to be any movement within.
Is the door locked, trapped, have any mechanism of any kind?
Roll me an investigation check.
22.
It appears to be locked, but you can't see any trap of any kind.
Okay, I'll try and pick it.
Roll me a thieves' tools check.
Uh, 25.
With a soft click, the door unlocks. And turning the handle, you push it open. You can sense within that there is a very small kind of room directly where you are, perhaps a corridor or something. And to the right, a stairwell leads just leads up slightly, maybe 5 or 6 steps up to the right. But directly ahead, in the piece of the building that sticks out, there is a room sort of beyond the wall, the corridor that you're in, with no door, or the door is ajar.
I'll just move forward. Sorry, there was a door ajar. Where was the door ajar?
Directly ahead to the left slightly.
Okay, and there was another way to go?
Stairwell to your right that leads up only a little bit.
Okay, I'll get Zook out and sort of like use him as eyes so he can sort of have a look around, like see more details and stuff. Or maybe I'll approach the door that's ajar and just like place him like on the floor just so he can like peek his head in and just.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna just peek my head in, give it a little sniff, see what I can smell as well. That's what I can see.
Roll me a perception check if you're having a smell. While I describe to you what you can see. So in this this room, there's no lights on or candles lit in this room. It looks to be it's all very lavish. It's a lavish room, but the floor is wood. It's not carpeted floor, and there is a kind of large dining table set in this smaller room, with a couple of chairs. Neatly tucked under. There is 3 windows, as well as some sort of artwork on the walls that you would expect from a manor. You know, there's images of landscapes and naval battles. What did you roll for your perception check?
31.
Having a smell and sniffing about the room, you can smell old food within this room. Like someone has eaten at this table, and you would sort of ascertain that perhaps this room is somewhere a dining room, although it's not huge. Perhaps a smaller kind of eating room.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know what it is.
I look back up. I look back up at Draug and just shake my head and squeak.
All right. Well, I'll move on to the stairs.
Can I just be like crawling under his feet, sort of thing?
Sure.
Just like obviously listening out for his footsteps to know where he is.
Moving up the short stairs, you find yourself in a staircase, the main sort of staircase area. It's like a big, large staircase room. Bigger than that small dining room. It's like a landing that curves round and then begins to go further up. There's nowhere to go down. So you kind of come in facing straight ahead, where you see a door at the far end, as well as another door to your left on the wall. The stairwell goes to your right and then curves slowly up. It's like really big, kind of just going up and up. In that direction of the staircase going up along the corridor, there is a large open double set of doors that would lead towards the center of the estate, and you can see within there it opens up into what looks like the main hall, the central grand hall,
like a lobby.
Yeah, okay. We'll head that way. I'll probably, if it gets a bit open up, I'll scoop up Zook again and sort of like I'll hold him until, I'll put him in a pocket or something until he needs to sort of have a look around.
You can hear movement from within this hall, or sense it. And as you approach the door and kind of peek round, you can see there's a couple of servants still up, setting up this grand hall space. They're like fixing the last of the draperies on the walls. There's no tables or chairs or things here, but there are some tables with fine linen, like sort of plaited, crocheted tablecloths along the edges where maybe food would be placed. But it's not somewhere... It looks like, a big entrance hall. And looking sort of up above you, it goes all the way up to the very top, where it's a flat roof, and you imagine there's probably a floor above it. So it goes pretty high, and it's like a big open central area. It looks like the main party is going to sort of happen in here / outside.
Oh, I kind of feel like a vault. It's going to be in a vault that's below the house. I'm not sure it would be kept
in his office.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, and it's not going to be in his quarters, is it?
Wait, this is isn't it?
I'd like to sort of
right.
I'd like to just inspect each room that comes off this hallway, sort of see if I can find a staircase that's going downwards.
Okay, roll me an investigation check, please.
Okay. 28, I think. 28, yes.
28. I'll say over the next 20 minutes. Yeah. Which is kind of pushing up to the end of when your invisibility would
I'll
end.
recast if I need to.
You search the ground floor pretty thoroughly. You pass servants and things, but it's pretty quiet most of the time. You find there is on the other side of the hall, through some small corridors, there's what looks to be a chapel built in to the side. There's a series of rooms so it'd be the left-hand side of the ground floor, which is the kitchen, the buttery, and the scullery, which is like all of the servants' areas. That's a huge section of the ground floor, and that's the kitchen is full at work. There's people baking and like up all night, seemingly making the most delicious smelling things, which wet all of your whistles. There, you also find that's where the servants' entrance kind of comes into a small storage area, and then into the kitchens. There are multiple staircases. There's at least 5 or 6 different staircases, although that main one you were in is the big one that seemingly leads further up. There is a pantry. There's something that seems to be some kind of nursery. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus different just rooms. None bedrooms, just chambers. However, there are no stairs that you find from that search that go down.
Okay, so up it is.
Recasting your invisibility, you begin to ascend. What stairs? You can ascend the main stairs, or you can ascend the stairs that are sort of by the kitchen area, or you can ascend the stairs.
Yeah, I think by the more inconspicuous route as possible.
So there's the buttery stairs, and then there's the chapel stairs, and then there's the main stairs. I'll give you the choice of those 3. There are some others, but we'll do those 2.
Let's do the buttery stairs.
Okay, so you head up through the buttery
I would like to keep an eye out for any false steps or anything like that.
The buttery stairs lead up into the kitchen and up into a little larder. So it's actually the chapel ones or the ones just by the kitchen.
Okay, let's do the chapel then.
Okay.
I'll keep an eye out for any false steps or anything like that, and I think any sort of hidden traps or...
Zook, roll me a perception check. Brother Draug, roll me a perception check. And then I'd like you all to roll me stealth checks again, please.
I'd like to roll a check to smell for people.
I got a 27 on my perception.
Okay.
21 on my stealth.
Do we still have stealth? Do we still have advantage on stealth?
Yeah, if you're if
from
you're
being in the
rats,
jacket.
Yeah.
Natural 20. There we go.
Oh.
15 for me.
A stealthy fucking rat.
I got a 30 on my perception.
Okay.
And I got a... Blimey, I rolled an 18, so 24, 34 on the stealth.
Okay. In that case, I will expedite things with good rolls. Let's not dungeon crawl this, because I know you guys aren't dungeon crawling this like in the same sort of way. You're scoping it out. The second floor yields the left hand side, because you came up from the kitchen area, reveals the kind of left hand side upper floor, which is still the chapel. There's still part of the upper chapel. There's a few more chambers, and there's a one chamber which is above the kitchen, which is just full of ships. It's like full of model ships, like everywhere.
Oh, fuck.
They're just like...
They look really expensive.
They're looks super detailed, super expensive. There's all
Are there
manner of
particularly
different ships.
Yeah. No, you're not grabbing that. It's fine. Are
Um,
there any really small ones?
there are a few small ones. They're all in like little glass cases. There's a huge one on a central table, which is like, a good 2 meters long. That's not in a case.
Oh, okay.
Let's not steal one now. Let's steal one during the heist.
Are there any? Are there locks on the cabinets?
There aren't locks on the cabinets.
Are they trapped at all, or are they?
With your,
Is there?
I'll say with your 34 as part of that, they don't appear to be trapped.
Are they like, what are they made out of, these ships? Are they wood or?
Yeah, they're like
wooden?
intricate wood and string and rope, and they're painted.
Oh, okay.
They're hand painted.
Okay. So they just look. They're probably not the best. They're probably not the best things to go for. Like.
They'd be worth,
theft-wise.
they'd be worth a fair bit, but they wouldn't be worth more than a bag of gems or something. Really.
Yeah. There's not a huge return on the. They're more of a collection of love as opposed to.
It would seem so. Yeah, Mr. Lord Balthazar seems to have a passion for ships. There is a large chamber up here as well that's sort of above the scullery and the buttery, and there is a gallery that you can get to from the great chamber that cuts across. So you were in the main sort of hall looking up. There was a gallery on the front of the building on the inside that could look over, and this is how you access it. You can get into it and then across it and out the other side to get to the other side of the second floor. On the other side, there's more bed chambers in this area. In fact, there's a considerable number of just bed chambers within this, as well as a chamber which has sort of lounge sofas and reclining sort of things in, like a withdrawing chamber, if you will.
Retirement area.
What do you call it? Like where you go to smoke cigars after a meal.
Yeah. Some of the bed chambers, I mean, none of them are locked. The ones you've come across, and most of the doors are shut. And going in, they just look like plain guest bedrooms.
There's no indication of where a master bedroom might be.
Not on this floor, but there is still the main staircase, which looks to be the only other way that leads up to the third floor. Well, sorry, that would be the second floor. This is the first floor. I always do that.
Yeah, sure. But there's a basement floor that we entered from, right?
That's the ground floor. And then, this is the first floor, and then above you would be the second floor. I always say the second floor for the one that's
second is the
second
third.
up, because it makes sense in my head that way, but that's not right.
Let's head up then.
Heading up to the second floor.
Doing the standard like false steps.
Oh no!
Any alarms?
I am incorrect.
Like
the main stairs only leads from the ground floor to the second floor. The only other staircase you came across was by the ship room. It was just outside the ship room. Is one more staircase that seems to lead up.
Oh, okay.
So ascending that staircase, you find yourself in a very small staircase that leads up into what looks like a bed, a hallway with 2 bed chambers. In fact, one is just paintings. There's no bed in there. It's like a gallery chamber. But the one on your right is a large locked door. The corridor continues on and then turns to the right. And there is a door that also leads into the long gallery, which spans the whole of the top floor from one side of the estate to the other side of the estate on the back side of the estate. And it's just like a huge long gallery that you can walk all the way across the whole thing from. And there's the balcony that you can get to on the back of the building from that side. There are entrances, 2 entrances on that side that you could get in from the balcony, I believe.
This where there's large locked door is.
Along the gallery is just like paintings and the
And at the end is the door.
Whereas where you came up the stairs, there's a bedroom. Well, actually, there's a room directly to your right where there is a large door that is locked.
What's in the room? Like presumably, with the blind sense, I can actually just get the layout of the room.
You would have to like hear sound and have it kind of reverberate, I imagine. Like your sound is almost your sight is almost based on things that are moving. And
can
if
I
there's
hear
something
anyone
blocking,
inside?
it's almost you cannot.
Can I just do like a gentle knock on the door then? Like a gentle I'll check for like traps or
roll
any
me a quick
enchantments, anything
investigation
like that.
check then.
Okay. 29.
Looking at this door, it does appear to be trapped. There is what looks to be a magical trap of some sort upon the door. You can see or sense the kind of magical pulsings emanating from the actual doorknob itself.
Is there a way to mechanically disable it, or
not that you're aware of? No.
Okay.
Would I see this?
You would not unless he relays it to you.
I could. Yeah, I'll just whisper it to them.
Yeah.
But we don't want to dispel it. I'll mention we don't want to dispel it because that will then raise alarm if we can't then recast whatever enchantment this is. But yeah, I think we know it's going to be behind here, and unless we have a way of, could I see if I know what the trap is?
You can roll me an Arcana check.
Okay. It's not as good. Like a 13.
Do you have what spells could you cast? And have you?
Do you want my spell list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine lots of illusions.
And message, friends, shadow, animal familiar, featherfall, disguise self, id insinuation, gift of alacrity, invisibility, mirror image, shadow blade, misty step.
Don't worry. And those are the only ones you've ever been able to cast.
Uh-huh.
Okay. No. Then no. A 13 isn't enough, unfortunately.
What would my previous knowledge of I know that I'd lose invisibility. I wouldn't be able, actually no, I've used all my invisibility now. Probably gonna have to leave it here, but at least we know where it is. We know there's a magical enchantment, and that cements that we need to bring Thingy with us, so he can potentially even we can get it, leave it, and actually recast it as if no one's been there. So when they actually discover it's gone, it's going to take them ages. Like the alarm won't actually be.
True.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Can I? I mean, looking at now that he's pointed it out, is there any way I can decipher what the magic is?
I'll let you roll an Arcana check too, but the DC will be higher.
Okay. It's only a 14.
No, you're not sure. It's not.
Okay.
It's not in the druid spell list. I'm pretty sure. I'll quickly have a look.
Yeah. They're not my forte. Okay. Is this as high as we've scouted out? Like, is this as high as the building goes?
Yes, you can scout the rest of it, which yields along the long gallery. There looks to be another bed chamber.
Are there windows?
There are tons of windows all along all of it.
I would like to leave by a window and see if I can make my way to a window that goes onto this bedroom. If I think that there's a window that goes onto this bedroom.
There is the small gallery chamber that was directly to your right up the stairs that is next to this chamber that you can't get in. And there is one window in that chamber.
Okay. I'll just...
From the inside, there's just a simple one of those old school latches that goes down to the pegs that you can just lift up and push the window open from.
Okay.
Climbing out, it's a slight L shape to this corner, and from this window you can see the other window into the room.
Okay.
You can't see, but you can sense it there. Zook, you would be able to see, and Dutch, you would also be able to see. You can see into this room, and it looks to be some kind of bed chamber. You can see a bed in there.
Okay. Can
Yeah, go for it.
Can I get onto the ledge? I mean, if I can't, I'd like to just, as an action, change into a pigeon and flap over onto the window ledge and peek in.
You can. You flap, landing on the other window ledge, and peek in through the window. Roll me a perception check.
Oh, it's good. 17 plus 15 is 32.
Jesus. Have you got dark vision?
As a pigeon?
Probably not.
No.
Change into an owl.
Change into an owl. Realising I can't do that, Zook knows his animals.
Sure.
He changes into an owl.
Fine. Looking into this chamber, it is indeed a bed chamber. And within this chamber you can see a large four-poster bed, paintings on the walls. It's decorated even more lavish than some of the others, but you can see that the bed looks lived in. The covers are pulled off to the side like someone has left the bed. With was it a 32? Even from outside of the window, you can see on the far right-hand side of the room, the wall that's there, where the bookshelf is, looks to be slightly ajar or slightly off of the wall. And you can see a faint light emanating from it.
Okay. I look back and I go, woot woo, woot woo. And then I look back in the window, and I like to just wait there, either until I see something or until Draug makes me aware that we need to get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
I would like to use my second hybrid transformation slot, and can I scale along to get to this window?
I'll get you to roll me an acrobatics check or athletics, because you can kind of balance along if you wished as well.
Acrobatics for certain. Okay, an 18.
An 18. There's one misstep along the way, but you manage to catch yourself, and you look below, and you're significantly high up, but knowing you've got feather fall up your sleeve, you're never too worried, and you eventually reach the window across the ledge.
Is it locked?
Roll me an investigation check.
24.
with a 24, you identify similar thrum of energy to the door.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Wait, is that there's a thrum of energy at the window where we are? So, okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
How long are you waiting?
I think this is time to head back at this point because we can't do anything else.
Yeah. I was just going to see if anyone came back out to see if that was Lord Balthazar or anything, but maybe. Actually, I suppose you've only got a certain amount of invisibility left. So, we'll head.
Let's wait until the last possible moment before I think it's. I need to probably get back and climb back over. Is that possible?
Yeah,
So
I reckon you've got maybe 10 minutes left before you've got half an hour left, and that's probably cutting it to get out all the way. So you wait for the next 10 minutes, and about 8-9 minutes into that wait, the bookshelf slides to the side, light spilling from the interior. As a robed man in sort of dressing gown, fine coiffured mutton chops, and a kind of one of those like sort of smoking doublets that you would not doublet the
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like he's got his dressing gown with that kind of
cravat.
And the cravat.
That's it, thank you.
Yeah.
He puts out the last of his cigar ash into the little, night candle. And you see faintly behind him from the candle that's spilling the light into the room. The room behind looks to be a similar size to the bedchamber, no windows, but within looks to be a kind of study of some kind. There's a desk, there's also some bookshelves within. You don't spot anything particularly out of the ordinary in there. However, you do, Zook, you would notice he kind of pats at his chest here and sort of makes a kind of sigh.
Motherfucker.
And blows the candle out. And you see him push one of the books back in, a dark red book, pushes it back into the shelf, and it slides closed. And he proceeds to get into bed.
Son of a bitch.
And I think we'll end the session there. That seems like a good moment. Apologies, Aiden, for not getting around
all
to
good.
you.
No, I've got stuff I'm gonna do. Don't worry, I've got plans.
There's good stuff, and I feel like if Rufus is here next week, it'll be cool for him to be there for that bit.
Yeah, I really want to have some back and forth with Rufus if I can. Yeah. That was some sick recon, boys.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good.
Passages. Ooh.
Very good.
Great.
So he potentially has it on his person.
He possibly does, or at least the key to or something to get it. He's got something important on him.
So, when Dutch became a rat, did his fur carry any of the markings of his tattoos, or is he just a plain rat?
Maybe,
have sort of a
Zook
mottled
decides.
appearance, or some cool swirls.
I imagine he's got some
slightly bigger
dark
tusks.
black seams. Yeah, yeah, big teeth.
Nice.
No eye. He's a one-eye rat.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
That's a scary rat. That's a Dark Souls rat. That's...
Well played, boys. Well played. That was good. That was real good.
Nice.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah.
Pre-heist is
That was great.
Pre-heist game is strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all going to go horribly wrong in the real thing, but this was good.
You've learned much.
Absolutely.
It's good. And
Ocean's Elven.
we shall see what. Amelia asked me earlier. She said, "What are you doing in Dungeons and Dragons later?" And I looked at her like, "What? You never asked me that. You You never asked me what I'm doing in Dungeons and Dragons, and she was like, "I'm trying to make an effort with your nerd."
That's nice.
And I was like, "Oh,
That's great.
That's very sweet. I'll tell you a bit about it." And she was like, "Yeah, just a bit." And then I said, I said the easy way of describing what we're doing is it's Ocean's 11, but fantasy.
Yeah, Ocean's Elven.
And that's all I said.
Nice.
Got some ideas, guys, for what we need to do for sure.
Yeah, have a think.
Yeah.
You've scouted the interior, but perhaps if you can locate a map or something like that, you can put where you've been to what you can see, and maybe that will aid you, and we'll see what Richter and Rufus can muster up in the tavern.
I think there's a Chinook above the house. I got distracted. that characteristic.
Yeah, Hattux is on the flight path.
It
I've
is,
seen
yeah.
it.
They do nighttime flights low along. Actually, I'm not going to say because maybe I'm giving away intelligence to the Russians.
Yeah, this is some MOD shit. Like,
get out of here, Russians.
Hey man.
Нет
leave
по-английски.
it alone.
No, if they want to watch the show, then they're more
they
than welcome.
know.
We love our Russian fans. Slava Rosi!
They don't need to invade a
Comrade.
nerdy D&D podcast to find
It's
out where the
all
flight
gone.
paths are.
Russian is
God,
one
we
of
could
my
not-
accents that I do in the campaign, so I cannot complain.
Very
Just
sexy.
sound like FPS
Oh yeah, Mr. Icebreaker.
Mr. Icebreaker.
It's just so
Maybe.
it is so nice
But you're-
to see you.
Yeah.
But
He might not go down too well.
Yeah, you've gone with the effete Russian, which is not a stereotype you see that often.
no, it's not.
Yes.
It's certainly not.
She's saying all the things she's saying.
Matthew
Running through my
from
head.
Downton Abbey, who put in Fire Saga, isn't it? That's what it's based on.
It is the guy
Oh,
in in that. Oh
yeah.
man.
The guy, Matthew from Downton Abbey. I don't know the name of the actor. Sorry.
Oh,
He's in
shit.
Legion. He's the
He
guy in
plays-
Legion. Fuck. I can't remember the actor's name. Anyway,
Yeah.
him in the Eurovision film.
Yeah.
That's what I based that character off.
Yeah,
Which
it's
was a
great.
great fucking film. I loved that film.
Oh, it's so good. Fire Saga is amazing. I won't have a word said against it.
Yeah, ding dong.
Ding dong,
Yeah.
ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong. Right.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Was Chris about? What was going on? Did
Oh, no,
I-
in the
Oh,
chat.
I didn't look.
Were we alone?
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, we were all alone.
well,
Well, we were here, so that's the main thing.
we were
today.
here. Thanks for
We were
watching
here.
us. And Josh can, as homework, watch them to catch
Yeah.
up. So
We're going to walk into that tavern and he's going to go, right, what are we doing?
yeah.
Ah, shit.
So where have we
Why
been?
am I here?
What are we doing? And you'll be like, oh yeah, you were in a hailstorm and you fought. You bludgeoned a dude with the. Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
Well,
with
you
the-
were
with the
away,
help.
so of course something vomity
Yeah,
happened.
someone was sick on you. You were
Yeah.
sick on yourself. Something
You,
like
you
that.
sharted. You sharted your pants.
Up in his pocket.
Yeah, there's sick in his pocket and he doesn't know where it's come from. Well, thanks for watching. We love you
Danke.
very much.
Gracias.
Mwah.
Goodbye from us.
Arigato.
The journey.